Yeah, so my name is Monica Williams, and I am the president of Clarity Through Community. We are a nonprofit, and we help individuals struggling with addiction and mental health issues. What we do is that we help find not only resources for them, but we actually help them with an extended, like concierge case management after they are leaving treatment. So we provide an assessment once they reach out to us, and then we have to ask a few questions so that we can find the best clinical fit. Once we get them successfully into treatment, we like to continue that support so that once they leave treatment, they can also be successful, because that's usually when individuals find it more difficult. While they're in treatment, they're in a controlled environment, so they do really well. The real work starts once they leave, and that's where clarity comes in.
When we begin, we're all looking for the promised land. And in the end, we just need someone to hold our hands. Everybody needs some kind of refuge, something to run to, someone who loves you. I'll be the light guiding you through the night when the stars just refuse to shine.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Everyone is Addicted. Today's guests, Monica and Tracey, have graciously come on to share their knowledge and their very, very selfless helpfulness with us. I don't want to give away what they do, so it's very selfless, very helpful, and very knowledgeable. So thank you guys for joining me today, and tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do.
Monica,
Okay,
I'll
sure.
let you go first.
Okay, yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, so my name is Monica Williams, and I am the president of Clarity Through Community. We are a nonprofit, and we help individuals struggling with addiction and mental health issues. What we do is that we help find not only resources for them, but we actually help them with an extended, like concierge case management after they are leaving treatment. So we provide an assessment once they reach out to us, and then we have to ask a few questions so that we can find the best clinical fit. Once we get them successfully into treatment, we like to continue that support so that once they leave treatment, they can also be successful, because that's usually when individuals find it more difficult. While they're in treatment, they're in a controlled environment, so they do really well. The real work starts once they leave, and that's where clarity comes in. We assist with the appointments and scheduling and step down process. So if they're leaving residential treatment, most likely a 30-day program or 60-day, we help find them intensive outpatient programs to step down to, or even a PHP level of care. Um, so that's what we do pretty much in a nutshell with Clarity Through Community. As for me personally, I have over 20 years of behavioral health experience. I have put hundreds of people into treatment of all levels of care. So I'm really passionate about what I do. I love connecting with individuals who need the help. And yeah, and Tracey, she's our board president, and I'll go ahead and let you take it from here.
Yeah, hi. I'm Tracey Carlisle. I have 20 years in healthcare. Probably 10 of those have been dealing as well with mental health of all different capacities and level of care. And so I joined back in Q4 of 2025, Clarity Through Community, because of the innovative approach that they're taking for such a critical care service need across this country, as well as the world. I know that Jasmine, Europe, and Canada the US, 70% of our individuals in this country that have a recognized need for mental health don't receive it. So clarity through community, as I kind of describe it, provides really an intensive concierge care management support mechanism designed to aid the patient in their transition to wellness. We are aided by, and this is one of the key components of clarity through community. They have developed an innovative technological approach that enables them to have a structure for direct communication between clinician and patients without regard, without agnostic of what organizational affiliation the clinician is with. So it allows that level of communication. It allows the care manager to really be able to track the progress and service utilization and ongoing needs, adaptive approaches to their care plan so that they have the optimal amount of support to achieve mental health wellness. It also provides an updated repository so that we have resources across the country and can provide the right level of support for the patient no matter where they are geographically. So these are such innovative approaches that I have not seen in my career across the country dealing with mental health resources that I joined the board. I'm the president, and so looking forward to, we have so many great programs that are coming to fruition or have already been established. Just a critical organization in the wealthfulness of this country.
That is amazing. I think that that is so needed just from my own mental health background. Like I'm in Canada, so our healthcare is a little bit different, but I had a mental health assessment done. They told me what my mental health issues were, but did they give me an avenue of how to get help? No, they did not. They just gave me the diagnosis, right? So I know that there's that gap there, and in Canada, they give you very limited resources. And I recently started doing something very similar. I'm just one person, so I've just started. I'm not nearly as established as you guys. But the funny part is most of my resources lie in the US. Most of them aren't Canadian. So when I've only had two clients so far, so I can't say that I've done a whole lot. But basically, I do the same thing. I get to know them as well, and I make sure that they understand what the resources that I've shown them are. I tell them my background so that they don't feel uncomfortable telling me what's going on with them, because I've also had addiction issues and mental health issues. Um, so I think that it's great because I feel like you guys have like the like compared to the resources that I have, because I said mostly they're in the US, there's not a lot in Canada. So it's great that you guys are able to reach out globally as well, because I find that in the US there's far more resources than there is in Canada. So when you guys are vetting people, how do you kind of do your vetting process when it comes to looking into clinicians and seeing which like person would be a good fit for your program?
So after doing the initial assessment, that's why that assessment is so important, and to get as much information as possible about their addiction or their mental health and the history as well. So usually I like to go out in person and I vet these programs. I like to walk around. I like to look for cleanliness. I talk with the clinical staff. I like to know their treatment modalities. I want to know, even when it comes down to the food, what types of food do they have? Do they have specialty programs? All of this information. But if it's a program that's not in my area where I can't actually go in and visit, I would actually make a phone call and I'll speak with the clinical director. And then I ask specific questions like, I have a patient that I'm thinking about sending them to you, and they're struggling with bipolar disorder. What type of treatment do you offer? So I ask specific questions because I want to know the type of quality of health care that they're going to be receiving. I also ask them if they're licensed for mental health and addiction because a lot of places are licensed for addiction and they're not licensed for mental health. So that what they'll do, they'll treat that addiction. And you may see a therapist maybe once or twice a week, maybe if that, the time that you're in treatment. So then I know that's not a good program for them because I need somebody that's going to focus on the mental health. So those are the type of questions and how I actually vet a program before I actually send someone there.
That is like, see, that's the problem with me, right? I can't, because it's a lot in the US, I can't go in there and do that. But I never thought about it right down to the aspect of the food. See, so this is something that I'm learning from you guys for my future with helping people in the same way, because I never thought about that, like in the sense of what kind of food do they have, because people do have dietary restrictions. And
Right.
I also didn't there's another thing that I will admit, I didn't realize that some places are just for addiction and not for mental health. And I also know, at least in from my experience, there's a lot of places when you look at a rehab, they'll say what types of addiction they treat, and a lot of them don't treat mental, like coming or benzodiazepine addiction, for instance, right? And that is one I've found very hard to find resources on. So I think that it's so smart to be able to go in, look, ask them these kinds of things. From me, it's I can only talk to the director, right? And I can only go off of what they say, what their website looks like, and judge it from that aspect, where your aspect is so much better. Like I love that, and it really detailed care. Like people need individualized care. One size does not fit all. And you're right. What does come first? Is it the addiction or is it the mental health? And so that in itself is something that's so important because you're right. If you go to rehab, and it's the mental health that is the issue more so than the addiction, then you're going to come out and you're going to need that mental health care and you're going to struggle. I know this from friends who have gone to like a 30-day inpatient treatment. They come out and they're like, I miss the therapy. I don't know what to do with myself, right? And so I think it's so important that you're doing it that way. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And so when
And
I
like,
so
okay.
I was gonna say, how do clients reach out to you? Like, do you guys um well not how reach out to you, but like so how does it so if I emailed you, how does it start? Like how's the process?
So they can reach out to us on the website. We have a form they can fill out, and it comes directly to us, and then we'll reach out as quickly as possible. And then, or we have a phone number that they can call us directly and get one of us and speak with us as well. Once they reach out to us, we try to move quickly because,
Mhm.
especially individuals struggling with addiction, they change their mind quickly. So we try to jump on it as soon as possible and move quickly with getting them into treatment. And I just want to back up a couple of things that you said too. The reason why too a really intense assessment is important is because, for example, like you mentioned benzos, I ask, what type of drug they're using, how long they've been using, when's the last time they used, and how often. That's important because I want to know if we need to detox them before we get them into treatment.
Because
And I
benzos
want
can
them
kill you.
that benzos can kill you. Heroin, I mean, I need to know these things. Alcohol can kill you. That alcohol
Mhm.
detox is one of the most dangerous detox. So I need to know all of these things. So I need to get them into a proper program or a hospital that can detox them safely and then get them into treatment to get the help. So all of this is important. And that's why we train our case managers on what kind of questions to ask. And this way we can pair them up with the right treatment so they can be successful. And then once they leave treatment, like I said, clarity comes in, and then we take over from there, providing that extended case management and making sure they stay on the right path. Yeah.
And I just think that it's so important and it's so unique because I was like when I thought of it, I've never heard of anybody else doing it. So when I talked to you, I was like, wow, somebody actually understands what I mean when I'm trying to do this for people. Like I said, I'm just at the beginning phases of it, but I've had a couple clients that I've been able to help get into different treatments and stuff like that. But do you guys ever use like holistic type healing, or is it all clinical healing?
No, so it depends on what they specify because a lot of people, especially like, I'm just using addiction again, they try 12 steps over and over
Yeah.
again. It doesn't work. So they want to try something different. They want to try either smart recovery or they want to try a holistic approach to treatment. And we're open to that. So I work and partner with clinicians who specialize in holistic treatment. So I try to find the best fit for that person. And that's one thing, that's one of the questions I asked during the assessment. How many times you've been in treatment? Some people tell me that they've been in treatment 5 or 6 times. Okay, something's not working. We got to
Hmm.
do something different this time. Okay, tell me about the programs you've been to before. Usually they give me the name, and I'll do my research and look at these programs. So we want to try something different, a new approach to it. And sometimes it is holistic treatment. So definitely that. I think that's an option. Even smart recovery, because 12
Hmm.
steps just doesn't work for everyone. It just doesn't.
Well, even like myself, it didn't work. And the last person that reached out to me, that was the first thing they said. No 12-step programs. And
Yeah.
that's why I asked you that, because I know that there's so many people that just either have had a bad experience or it just doesn't work. And I know that even in rehab, they promote 12 steps quite a bit as well, which is also why I think people like shy away from it and are looking for something different in their care in general. And I think a lot of people realize that yes, 12-step program is good at the beginning of your sobriety, but once your mental health starts to come into play, you need something else and they don't know what to do, and that's where the relapse tends to come in. And even same with rehabs and stuff. And a lot of, like you said, like rehabs, you have to look at what exactly they're treating, because you could.
Oh, I think we lost you, Jasmine.
Yeah, Jasmine, you froze, or you still are frozen.
See you guys.
I
One sec. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
Okay,
see.
you're
Jasmine
back. You're back
froze for
now.
a minute. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. That what I said doesn't isn't a huge deal. So when I'm thinking, when I hear like this kind of stuff, like I talk to people. Like, what are your thoughts on naltrexone? That's something that intrigues me because you have way more experience with that kind of stuff than I do.
So, any type of medicated assisted treatment, I'm all for it. Um, but I really listen to the person's calling in. Now, if they're not comfortable with it, I'm not going to push it on them. And the reason why is because I work with a few doctors that I trust, and they believe that it can actually help the person. They can actually help them in their recovery. Now, like I said, medication assisted treatment, I'm kind of on the fence about. It just depends. So, because even like Suboxone,
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
a
I
one,
took Suboxone, and I have to wean off of that, which is just as bad as
which is just as
withdrawing.
bad. I had to put so many people in treatment for the Suboxone. I think it should be any type of medicated assisted treatment. I feel personally it should be the last resort kind of thing. But
Mhm.
I'm not a physician, so I really leave that up to the patient or the person reaching out to me to make the decision. I just try to give them the facts on it. And I want them to make an informed decision, but I don't push one way or the other. I try to stay neutral when it comes to that. Because with some people I talk to, they're like, "Oh man, it works perfect for me." All the, I did really well. So that's why I try to stay neutral when it comes to the medicated assisted treatment. But I know a lot of people do not like it.
I
Well, I
think
have
that goes
experience.
along with our concierge approach. to really meeting the patient, what resonates. For some people, a 12-step program is it's going to resonate with them, and others need some other cognitive mechanisms to deal with their recovery. So it's really about meeting the patient where they are, what their needs are, uh, making sure that there's acceptance from the patient perspective.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I 100% get that because a lot of people, I think this, like, I've been on Suboxone, so I know that it's hard to get off of. From what I've heard, naltrexone isn't, but I've never taken it, so
Right.
I don't know. I can't speak to that. But from what I have tried to learn with resources is ones that don't come with medication as much as possible because I feel like a lot of people don't want to be put on something else that they're going to have to get off of later because they know what the withdrawal's like. So I definitely try my best to look for resources that are more either therapeutic, holistic, hypnotherapy is what I've been diving into a little bit with some clinicians and stuff like that to really research it before I promote it to somebody. But um, I've been, yeah, looking more into less medical assisted treatments because I know how hard it is to come off of that, which is not fun at all. It's just like going through the withdrawal all over again.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. And I've had a lot of people that really like acupuncture. They said that works really well as for them. So if they're open-minded and willing to try alternative methods, then I can find programs because there's a lot of programs that have alternative treatment. And so I usually try to recommend those programs as well. But I don't know how evidence-based a lot of those treatments are. That's the only thing. But if they've been in and out of treatment so many times, then why not try it?
I
You know?
agree.
Yeah.
There's one that I've been told about that's in Canada. It's laser treatment, but it's also an inpatient. Like you go for about a week and they do some form of laser therapy on you on top of regular therapy. And like you
Mm.
said, I don't know how if that really works or not, you know what I mean? But it's interesting. It's an interesting approach, I guess, but like I don't really know. This is a newer type of approach, so there's not a lot of research done on it to back up if it does help or not. So it's not something that I would advise anybody about, but it's something that I've heard of, like you said, like there's so much out there, but it's the legitimacy of it that really is the point,
Yeah.
right?
And a lot of those treatments are really expensive too.
Heck yeah.
But even like TMS, different things like that. It costs a lot of money, and a lot of times insurance won't cover it. So if that's another thing too. So besides finding the clinical fit, I also find the best financial fit for the people that are seeking treatment because some people are insurance dependent. And if they're insurance dependent, like I said, they won't cover these alternative treatments. They only want to cover what they've known has worked in the past and what's been proven. So a lot of them have to come out of pocket. So if the family have resources and they can afford it, then okay, yeah, then I'll go and I'll really research and look for more options and in that way as well. I just try to make the person feel comfortable with their decision. I don't want to make the decision for them, but I just want to help guide them because a lot of them don't know where to start. When they call me, they have no idea. They just tell me what they've been through and what they need, or they're not even sure what they need. But we
I
talk it
think it,
out. Hmm.
I was just gonna say, I think it just gives them freedom of choice and the empowerment of their own care.
Yes, it 100%. I don't want them to go to a program because I said, okay, here, go to this program. This is going to work. This is great for you. And then they get there and they're not happy for whatever reason. I mean, I ask them even questions of like, what type of environment do you like to be in? Do you like the mountains? Do you like the beach? Do you like being close to water? Like all of this makes a difference because you're going to be there for 30 days or longer. You want to be as comfortable as possible. And some people relax more when they're next to water or near water. Um, they relax more when they're in the mountains. They love that, and they want to have a program where there's outdoor activities and things like that because that's what they're used to. It helps relieve their stress when they're in these types of environments. So that's a part of the assessment and me getting to know that person and to finding the best fit. And I think, like, again, this is one reason why a lot of individuals are not successful is because they've been going to the wrong treatment programs. And I also wanted to mention too that a lot of programs claim to be dual diagnosis. It's like that's the buzzword now. With
Yeah,
dual
it is.
diagnosis, dual, and then you look them up and they're only licensed for addiction. How are you dual diagnosed and you're not licensed for mental health? Then you can't properly treat it. So being knowledgeable can help you in so many ways. Just like if you've been diagnosed with cancer, you want to find the best doctor. Let's say you've been diagnosed with breast cancer. You want to find the best doctor who specializes in breast cancer and knows you're not going to go to a doctor that specializes, I don't know, a podiatrist or whatever. You want to find the
Yeah.
best doctor that's going to treat you that disease, that illness, the best way. And that's the same thing with so because there's so many different treatment centers out here. Like you said, here in America, we have so many. They pop up all over the place. So that's why it's important to really know and do your research in order to find the right program. It'll save you a lot of money and time, and it'll get you the help a lot faster that you need.
And I also think too, another one is people faith-based programs. There's a lot of those, and there's a lot of people that do not want anything to do with a faith-based program.
Yeah.
So I find that interesting too to work around because a lot of the programs talk about, spirituality and a higher power and stuff like that. So do you ever come across people that are very like anti-faith based, and how do you guide them and when they come to you with that?
Tracey, I don't want to take over. Did you want to talk on that or
Yeah,
you
no,
have?
no. Yeah, no, it's go ahead.
Okay. So I have experienced that as well because so some individuals, when it comes to the faith-based program, some people believe in the power of prayer, which is fine. They believe in that, but sometimes you need a little bit more than just prayer. So
Mhm.
I have run into those individuals who want to stay away from that because in these programs, they are more spiritual and religious, like praying for the healing and believing in all these different things. And a lot of people just don't believe it. They
Well,
just
if you
don't
think
believe
of,
that it works.
well, I don't know if you've ever heard of Teen Challenge, but Teen
Yes.
Challenge is a very faith-based program, and that's what I was thinking about, right? Like, because of
Hmm.
the price, it's not an expensive rehab to go to. You are stuck there for a year, and it is extremely
Yeah.
faith-based. But
Hmm.
so it's like when people think about it, they're like, well, at least it only costs me this much money. They get there and they realize how faith-based it is, and they like can't, they don't like it. Like
Nope.
this is coming from my addictions doctor. I asked her about Teen Challenge just for a clinical perspective on it because I had somebody come on and rave about the program, right? And she's like, it's very faith-based. It might be inexpensive, but it is a little bit much for people who are not um maybe agnostic or just
Mhm.
they like to pray, they have a higher power, but it's not their whole focus. It's not, and or
Right.
people who have trauma that is based within faith. Like I know people who have faith-based trauma. So
Hmm. Hmm.
Teen Challenge doesn't sound like it's faith-based, but you go there and it is. And I
It
didn't
is.
Yeah,
Right. And I've
Jasmine,
heard the same. I'm sorry, go
it
ahead.
sounds like Jasmine that like clarity through community, you're trying to really match a program and a modality with the patient's uh, belief and structure that will resonate with them because that's when the patients are going to be the most successful. And not
Mhm.
all counselors or therapists or programs are the same. Like Monica said, you're not going to go to a podiatrist or an orthopod for a dermatological problem, and you're not going to go to an ear, nose, and throat oncologist for breast cancer, right? So you're going to go to somebody that sub specializes in that patient population. We deal a lot with one of our new programs is around the military and making sure that we're connecting them because they have some very unique or first responders in a different way but similar have unique traumas and experiences that really need to be addressed by a professional that has experience and exposure to knowing how to help them manage and reframe that experience to be so that they can get to a point of well-being, mental well-being.
I I think that's an amazing program to have because of the things they see are not normal. I was engaged to somebody who had done a tour in Afghanistan, and his PTSD was so extreme, but it wasn't something that like a regular counselor could understand. And so he has still not really ever received proper treatment and still has that strong PTSD that comes up in very unique
Yep.
ways, opposed to somebody that is just somebody that's experienced PTSD. But first
Right.
responders are the same way because they see a lot too. Like I remember when my dad was like he had septic shock and just from having them have to do what they had to do to get him out of the house and seeing all of that. And just that's nothing compared to coming to a car accident with a child that's passed away. Like, that's just not what typical people see. So they do need special care from people that are going to be able to understand that difference in their mental health opposed to somebody who just has trauma from I don't want to say like a regular type of trauma, but say like I was bullied, so I have trauma from that. That's a lot different than seeing a lot of death, a lot of being in fight and flight all the time, like just the horrendous things that I know he had seen, and the horrendous things I know a lot of first responders see. My friend's dad was a police officer and had just seen so much, right? So I think that is incredible that you guys are working on that because I think they have special needs in their own right.
And the other thing is again, it's really also being able to quickly and nimbly adapt to changes in the care plan, right? Monica mentioned before when she gets a patient on the line that is in the yes phase, she's going to move very quickly to
Mhm.
get them in before they change their mind because there's a lot of vacillating that takes place on the road to recovery. And so even when we talk about post-discharge support that we provide, which is different than if you're in most of the inpatient facilities, they'll hook you up with this is our group to go into afterwards. This is your support mechanism. But what if that support mechanism, that group doesn't resonate? What if you're a more, we'll just call them mature or senior uh, person, and you're in a group that's all 20-year-olds that are dealing with, fentanyl addictions, right? If you're somebody that's maybe got an alcohol addiction and some, you may not resonate in that group. And so we work very adeptly to modify and give options. So
Mhm.
so it's not just a one and done, here's your sheet, here's the door, thank you, go and prosper. Kind of that's where, I kind of dub it as it's a concierge. It's an intensive concierge partnership that we're providing with the patients, which is what makes us unique.
Well, I wish I would have had that when the first time I went into a 12-step program, I was 24 and everybody was so much older than me that it was harder for me to accept that I couldn't drink anymore because I was still so young that I tended to not want to accept that even though I needed to. I was clearly ruining my life, but I'm like, I'm 24 and I'm single. How am I supposed to explain this to people on dates? I wasn't ready to, you know, give in, but I wanted to give in, but nobody was old, like around my age and could relate to me on those problems. So I think that is a, like, I would have loved that, you know? So I think,
Mhm.
like I said, the individualized approach and the continued approach of aftercare is incredible because that's not something that, like, I didn't think of that myself when I was thinking about providing resources to people and tailoring them to them. I didn't think about afterwards. And I really, really now like get the picture of you need to think about afterwards because
Right.
like you said,
Mhm.
not it doesn't always resonate with groups. Plus, there might be mental health issues underlying, or if you went to a mental health facility and you didn't look at the addiction aspect, then
Right.
the outpatient care and the personalized care gives people a stronger chance to recover from whatever it is that they're struggling from. So I think
Right.
that it's incredible that the aftercare portion is something I think is so special and so needed. Like, like that's what I mean. Like I provide resources, I tailor them to people, but I never thought of the aftercare aspect, you know? And even
Mhm.
looking back on my own journey, I could have really benefited from that, you know? Would have saved myself 10 years of not drinking, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that aftercare is the most important because that's when the real work begins. And that's like I said, when Clarity steps in with our program is called Bridge to Wellness. And they can, like I said, they can reach out to us on the via the website and complete our assessment form, or they can call us, or they can just send a message through the website and have us give them a call, and then we can actually reach out and touch base with them and to get more of an assessment and find more out about their lives and what they need from us and how we can help them be successful.
And that's the biggest part of being successful is having that support, you know, because that is what is so lacking in, I find, the recovery industry and the mental health industry is the aftercare. Yes, they do have sober living houses, but I know people that go to sober living houses and it's almost like a frat house. Like it's not what it appears, I guess you could say. But I'm not saying all of them are like that, just the ones that I
Right.
have seen, right? And
Right.
you can leave if you want. So like if I mean, I don't know. I just know somebody that like went to one and it just seemed like a frat house. He would talk to me on the phone through video chat and it would just be them watching TV, watching football, betting on the football. I'm like, oh, that's addiction right there. But you know, so it really like if they would have had if he would have had somebody that was like you guys that was helping him specifically, he wouldn't have been put in that position and been able to go further into what he needed because I know that he didn't end up becoming successful in the end. So that's why I see it
Yeah.
that way. And I
Yeah.
and like even for my in my life, my daughter's father, he is an active fentanyl user. And yes, he's been to detox, but that was it. Like they didn't really provide him with anything else. And he's been to prison. He gets sober in prison, comes out, doesn't have any tools to keep going in life. Or I know that it's trauma related. So with him, he needs to go get mental health and he tries. He tries all the time to say, like, I have these problems, and they just tell him he's a drug seeker. So it's really amazing that you guys aren't treating people like that and are actually listening and actually taking their lives into consideration because that right there is going to make him not want to try anything else once your doctor tells you you're a drug seeker when you're saying, I'm going through extreme depression, extreme trauma, and this is my coping mechanism is using, and they're like, oh, you're just drug seeking, you're just looking for something else, right? And it just blocks go up and you just go right back to it instead of having somebody that cares, having somebody that's trying to help you figure out what you need. And that is why I think that there needs to be more programs like what you guys do. Like there needs to be like one in every single state, pretty much. I think like it needs to be
Mhm.
something that is seen by the medical community as something that is important, like detox, like something that
Mhm.
is provided right away when you go to a doctor to explain these things. And, oh, well,
Right.
here is this option, and they will help guide you all the way through. But I think over time you guys will be able to get there. I think this is just something new to the medical community, and I think they need to learn how to, accept that kind of care is needed.
Yeah, exactly. I agree because a lot of people will they don't know where to go, when they're having these feelings of mental health issues, or even with addiction, they're not exactly sure where to start. And some of them start with their PCP. They'll talk to their primary care physician about it. So that's another avenue that we are exploring. We talk to our PCP because they're not sure exactly what to do with them. They don't know. So when I go and see my doctor, I always give them my card and say, hey, if you get anyone that's struggling with any mental health or addiction issues, have them give me a call. He said, I get a lot of people um, talking to me about it. He says, but I'm not sure exactly what steps to take first or where to send them. So it's great. We should combine the two, behavioral health care and regular medical care. I agree.
And
Mhm.
personalized care, because that's the thing too. I think they think one size fits everybody and they just put us all into groups. At least they do here, right? And
Yeah.
that's the big problem. Or like with the medical assisted treatment, like with methadone and Suboxone, it's also addictive and hard to get off of. So
It
it
is.
what's worse, almost in my opinion, from going through it, would it have been worse just to go through the withdrawals of the fentanyl and the opiates for a month? Or is it worse to come off the Suboxone? And to be honest, it's worse to come off the Suboxone. It's actually
Mm.
a worse withdrawal. Or when you're talking about your primary caregiver, like your family physician, I talk about anxiety. I said, "Oh, I have anxiety," and the first thing he did was write me a prescription for clonazepam, and
Oh no.
you know what I mean. And that's why I know there's not a lot of treatment centers that actually treat benzodiazepine addiction out there because I looked for it, right? Because I needed that,
Right.
and that's where you guys kind of come in because you do that research and you're able to like be like,
Yes.
okay, this is where you can go, right? So it's so
And a lot of
I
people don't know the dangers of taking benzos. They don't know. Like they just can't stop cold turkey. You know, it's not that simple. Just like even with alcohol, you just can't stop cold turkey. I
oh,
mean, there's been once in a while there's been a few people, but usually you need a medical detox for those. And so something that, education is key. So that's part of what we do. We educate the people that's calling us so they'll know. So even if they decide to call somewhere else, at least they're informed, they're well informed, and they know what questions to ask.
because that's how I didn't know anything about benzodiazepines either, and I came across this group on Facebook that were people that were trying to get off, and I learned so much from just listening to their experiences, listening to how they had to fight with their doctors to be weaned off, but yet. Like I've had my doctor take me off cold turkey, and I've had to go to the emergency room and be like, "No, you have to," or like I'm going to have seizures. And with
Mm-hmm.
alcohol, it was pretty much the same thing. I didn't go to detox. I went to the hospital. It's pretty
Right.
similar, but and those addictions kind of go hand in hand. I was an alcoholic, but I like the benzodiazepines because I was functional instead of being sloppy drunk. I still felt the way you will feel when you're drinking, but without the you know when I was able to not make bad choices, I knew what I was doing. I didn't black out, kind of a thing, right? And then on
Mm-hmm.
the flip side, they'll tell people. that are getting off of benzos to drink so that it mediates the withdrawal symptoms, right? And I was going to interview somebody about benzos, and he has huge anxiety, and we couldn't figure out the time zone. He got so overwhelmed with just figuring out the time zone. He's on 4 milligrams at least of clonazepam, which is a high dose. And then he's like, I'm starting to drink now too. I'm like, okay, you need to find some help. Like, I'm like, I don't think this is the best time to do an interview. You're very stressed out. If you need some help, I can help you. But then he was super knowledgeable about benzos and the Ashton method and all of that, and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. So he's somebody that would benefit from giving you guys a call and being like directed in the right way, because he was just so discombobulated that he couldn't, you know, function, and but yet he knew what was going on with him. So being able to
Mm,
get a hold of somebody like you guys, and like you said, I really like that, because people change their minds with addiction so fast
yeah.
about, oh,
Hmm.
I want to get sober. Nope, no, now I don't. So being able to get on top of it really quickly is something that's also incredibly beneficial and incredibly a smart way to go about doing this program that you guys do. Um, so
Jasmine, I want to point out one element about clarity through community as a U.S. based not-for-profit organization where we provide free services for patients. We are always looking for a funding source for additional funding so that we can expand and grow our capabilities, because obviously the demand is there.
mhm.
We want to try to be able to meet as many patients' needs as possible. We can only do that through funding of others. So I want to put that out as anybody looking to that has an alignment with what we do and has funding capabilities, please reach out. That's my role as board president, is to continue to be able to promote and improve our ability for expanded care. We can only do that through funding.
I agree, and I agree. Anybody out there that aligns with what they're doing and can help, please do reach out to them, because what they're doing is life saving, and it's very selfless life saving. And if you want to help somebody, you want to help the right people, and you guys are the right people doing the things that like we need so badly. And it sucks that that kind of stuff exists, because I know a police officer who was now doing fentanyl awareness for youth, and he was paying for his program out of pocket through his regular DEA job, and then he had his only 2 milligrams, and he said, he's like, I can only do so much because of the funding. And realistically, these programs are the programs that need the funding, whether it's government, whether it's somebody out there that aligns with it. These are the programs that need the funding. So the ones that get the funding aren't always the ones that are helpful. And there needs to be more exposure to what you guys do. I agree 100%. If there was more
Mhm.
exposure, I guarantee there would be more funding, more help. And I will definitely be promoting this all across my platforms, because I believe that it is life saving, like completely life saving. And also the fact that you don't feel alone in your recovery,
Yeah.
because there's so
Mhm.
many times you feel alone as you go through. Even if you're in rehab, you might feel alone, and
Mhm.
then you're able to reach out to somebody that understands you, you've talked to, and then they can be guided in a direction that takes you back to not feeling alone, which is a big one, especially when
Right.
you come, I mean, when you come out of rehab, not when you're in rehab. Sorry, I said that wrong. When you come out of rehab, you feel so
Mhm.
alone. And being able to have that guidance is crucial to keeping you from relapsing, like 100%. So yeah, fund them if you can. I honestly believe what they're doing is amazing work.
Yeah,
So
you can do that through the website. We have a donate button on the website, and we are 501(c)(3). We are a tax write-off here in America. So I don't know how that will relate. But we can donate. You can donate directly through the website, and once you donate, you automatically get a certificate stating that you donated, and you can use that as a tax write-off at the end of the year.
in Canada, if you do donate to somewhere in America, you can. It's just it's different form. So you can also write it
Oh,
off if
got
you're
it.
from Canada. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay, great. That's good to know. Thank you.
Because I've seen the forms before. They're just a little bit different. But it's not, you know what I mean? It's just called a different form. That's all. But you can definitely do it and you get the tax write-off as well. So that
Oh,
people are
nice.
informed of that because I've seen it. I know that it exists. If you're Canadian and you want to, and you want to make sure you get a write-off, you can get your tax write-off if that's what you're looking for as well. Um, Thank you, ladies, for sharing everything you've shared. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before I let you go?
No, we appreciate you bringing additional awareness to the need of
Absolutely.
appropriate mental health care and access to services. So thank you for all that you're doing as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Jasmine.
Well, thank you so much because, like I said, I believe it's selflessly life-saving, and you guys are doing amazing work, and it needs to be more people like you out there. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing this because I know so many people who can benefit from this kind of care. So I
Yes.
appreciate it so much. So,
Okay. And yes, and like I said, and we're always here. If you need us, reach out via email, our website, or call us directly.
well, thank you, ladies, and you have a
Thank
great
you.
rest of your day. I appreciate it. Thank you
Okay,
so
you
much.
too, Jasmine.
Thank
Okay,
you. Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.
When we begin, we're all looking for the promised land. And in the end, we just need someone to hold our hands. Everybody needs some kind of refuge, something to run to, someone who loves you. I'll be the light guiding you through the night when the stars just refuse to shine. And I'll be your shelter, that safe place to hide, your sanctuary. When I look at you, there is a strength in your eyes shining through. And there will be days when even the strong ones need shelter too. Honey, let me shelter you.
That is amazing. I think that that is so needed just from my own mental health background. Like I'm in Canada, so our healthcare is a little bit different, but I had a mental health assessment done. They told me what my mental health issues were, but did they give me an avenue of how to get help? No, they did not. They just gave me the diagnosis, right? So
Mhm.
I know that there's that gap there, and in Canada, they give you very limited resources. And I recently started doing something very similar. I'm just one person, so I've just started. I'm not nearly as established as you guys. But the funny part is, most of my resources lie in the US. Most of them aren't Canadian.